Let me change my Death Star calendar to 5. Okay. So if we look at the flow chart here, it asks us, is it compounding periods? Does it have compounding interest? Yes or no? So that's what we dealt with yesterday. Yes, it was compounding, or if it was no, it was simple interest. Now, yesterday we did lump sum payments, as in we invested a whole bunch of money at one time. Okay, how much money will I have in 5 years if I invest $5,000 right now? Okay, or how much money do I need to invest if I get $10,000 in 5 years? How much money do I need to invest? So lump sum means like a one-time payment. What we're dealing with today is a regular payment or annuity. If you look at if you ever hear annuity, it just means a series of regular deposits and payments. So a bank loan, a car loan would be an annuity because you pay a certain amount every month or a certain amount every so often. Okay. Investments sometimes are annuities. If I deposit $100 every month, what else is an annuity? Your mortgage, if you have a mortgage as an adult, that's an annuity. Okay, a regular deposit. Okay. So do we understand the difference between lump sum and annuity? That's a big thing, just to understand those two base concepts. Because when you go through questions later on, that's what's going to kind of decide what you work with. All right. So I'm going to show you. Now, yesterday you guys are all cool with your formulas. And even though I said, like, if you use the TVM solver, right, you're not going to get 100%, but it'll be a little bit different. Here's the formula for future value of an investment. So this would be a question like, how much will I have in 10 years if I invest like $50 a month? Okay. This is the formula we're going to use. What's your general reaction to this formula? So write in chat what you think about this formula. Easy peasy, kind of scary. I can kind of work it out. What's the reaction? Do I have no one paying attention right now? It's a big formula, right?
It's huge, man.
It is. So this is where I tell you the TVM solver will actually come in really easy for this. If you can set it up, then just use the TVM solver to solve it, you'll get 90% on your test, which is a good target to aim at. I don't think anyone would be upset. There might be like 2 or 3 people in class right now who in 90% may bring down their mark. Everyone else is going to bring up their mark. Okay, so I'll show you how to do it all if you want to do it all, but don't be upset or don't be like too precious about yourself about using the TVM solver, because the TVM solver is something that you can use when you go to the bank or when you're looking at loans. You can find this TVM solver online and use it yourself to figure out your options. And I guarantee you'll use that instead of remembering this formula. All right, so let's use this formula right here. Okay, and it's not as intimidating as it looks. Okay, it's easy to fill in. The tough part is in like doing the calculation. If you understand how to do the calculation, it's not bad to use. All right. So these letters are pretty much the same as we did yesterday. Okay, there's only new letters is the big R and FV. Okay, FV stands for future value. So what's it going to be worth in the future? And R is going to be the regular payment, how much you're putting in each month. Now, if we look at our notes to self here, if we have regular payments, there's 2 things we can do. We can do future value, which we're doing this morning, or we can do previous value, which we're doing this after in second block. So a future value is when you start with nothing and build up to something with a regular payment. Okay? Yep, test is Thursday. Pretty much after today, Ben, we're all done like our investment stuff, and then tomorrow's like practical use and then review. I'm just giving you the bare bones of financial. We're not going that deep into it. We're going to keep it simple, just for time's sake and for the manner which we learn it. Okay. So first thing I always do, let's figure out all my letters here. Okay, I have future value. I have regular payment. I have my rate. I have my compounding periods, and I have my time. Okay, can you guys help me out and tell me what I have here? Type in chat what you think I have here. So suppose you deposit $100 at the end of every 6 months for 2 years and earn 10% compounded semi-annually. How much do you have at the end of 2 years? My R is 100, correct? My regular payment is 100. You guys want? No, we won't spice up this question. It's kind of a boring question. All right, what else do we have here? And all these things are the exact same. My R is 10%, which is 0.1. Good. My time is 2 years. Perfect. And my N, now for us, our compounding periods and our deposit rate are always going to be the same. So it's also going to be 2, semi-annually. So 2. Okay. Any questions about that right now, about how we set up our form, how we got those numbers out? Now I'm going to fill in my formula just like it is above and just fill in what I know. So FV equals, my R is 100. Now all this we're going to do is in the bracket to start. So the first part is we're going to go 1 plus R over N. That's going to be 0.1 over 2 to the power of Tn. Let me see here. So the power of Tn, which is 2 times 2, which I'm going to write 4 in there. I'll put a thing that says 2 times 2, minus 1, all divided by 0.1 over 2. So there's our formula. How do we feel about filling that in out of 5? Five is like, yeah, I understand how to fill that in. It makes sense. Like 1 would be, you're a wizard. Where'd you get all those numbers from? Right, so all we're doing is plugging in the numbers right now. All right, so the calculation part is the hard part. Now, I will do it all the ways possible here, okay? If you use Desmos calculator, you could probably plug it all in just like it looks like. So if you're using Desmos as your calculator, Desmos Scientific Calculator, as your calculator, I want to say you could plug everything in if you know how to use it. I could go bracket, and I could go divide here, I want to say, and go up here and fill everything up here. So bracket, point, oops, backspace. 1 plus 0.1 divided by 2. Press my over button, do my bracket, go to the power of 4, press my over button, go minus 1, then down here go 0.1 divided by 2, then go over here, do my bracket, and there's my answer. Okay, so that's one example of using Desmos. Okay, if I were to use any type of calculator, this is how I would do it. I would do the top part first, okay? So my next line was going to look like this. FV equals 100. And I'm going to do this part first and this part separate, okay, with my calculator. So I would do, first thing I do is 0.1 divided by 2 equals plus 1 equals the power 4 equals minus 1 equals 0.216. So this would be 0.216 over, now I just know 0.1 divided by 2 is 0.05. Okay? Then after that, what I would do is I would do this calculation first and then times it by 100. So I kind of leave this number up, divided by 0.05, press equals, and then times this by 100, and it's going to give me 431.01. So 431.01. How did that compare to my Desmos one? Yep, exact same number. Now, here's the easiest way to do it. And this is, I'm encouraging you to use this. Okay? I'm encouraging you to use this. Where's my Desmos again? So, my interest rate in this sense is 10%. So I'm just going to write 10 in here. My previous value when I start my investment is $0. I have nothing in my bank. My regular payment is $100. I'm going to make that 0 for right now. My payments per year is 2. My compounding periods per year is 2. Now, my end value is my time, my n times my t button. So it's 4. So I fill in that info, and all I do is press solve for future value, and I get the exact same answer. Okay. If you were to write down this original formula here, like this, and then use your TVM solver to solve it, that's worth 90%. So if you got that right, you get 90% on it. Okay? If it is much easier. If you did not write down this formula and just use the TVM solver, and when you give if you give me, as you give me your answer, if you use the TVM solver, you just write down this screen, all these numbers that you write in. That's worth 80%. Okay? So that's why I want to encourage you. This is a tool you can use in the future as well. Does anyone have any questions right now about this? And if you're wondering about the TVM solver, what all those buttons mean, if you look in your notes to future self, right here, I write down in words what those mean. You can see how I write N is the total compounding periods through the whole investment, and it's N times T, just like I did there. Interest rate as a percent, the present value, your payment, your future value, your payments per year, and your compounding periods per year. And with us right now, these are always going to be the same number. Okay? So let's look at the next question. I'm going to change this question up. I don't like this question. You get out of here. Delete you. Let's do something that's interesting. Let's say you invest. How old are you guys right now?
17.
Okay, 17. All right.
But some people are 16.
You invest $50 a month. The time you're 17 until you retire. Whoops. Oh my gosh. At the age of 65. You invest at a rate of let's go 5%. Make it easy. 5.5% compounded monthly. Okay, this is something that you realistically could do right now. Okay, then I'm going to put another question on there is B would be how much money did you make in interest? So let me go grab this formula real quick. All right, so let's write down all our letters and assign values for all these. Okay. So we have F, V, R, N, and T. Is that everything? All right, so you guys tell me what I got here. My R is 50. Good. Come on, Ben. I know you know what you're doing here. You can type in something. You can tell me some value. Don't let Haley steal all the thunder.
Shouldn't the payments, or actually, I guess you wouldn't put that in here, would you?
What's your question?
Like the payments for a year?
That's kind of the T times. You don't do payments per year. You do total payments throughout the whole time. That's where T. That's where this is, right? And in your in the TVM solver, that's what the big N means. Is like total payments through the whole time. You could find how many years there per year and then times about how many years it is. N is 12. Good. My R is 0.055. My T is 48. Yep. Because it's 48 years between the time you're 17 and 65. Yep. All right, so now we're all set up. I'm going to give you guys a minute to see if you can put this information into that formula. Okay. Now, I always write all these things down because sooner or later, I'm going to give you a future value. I'm going to ask you what payment you need to do each month or whatever for. Okay. So that's why I write down all the letters every time. So I'm going to give you a minute. Put D in chat when you think you're all done writing it in. Does anyone need the QR code for the TVM solver for them to practice on? Does anyone want the QR code so they can grab their phone and pull up that website? So they can practice with the TVM solver? Okay. So here it's in your content library, in your website one. So there is, no, I haven't yet, Ethan. Tell me when you have the TVM solver. I would encourage everybody to use the TVM solver. Now, with that being said, if you want to do the whole formula, you're going to have to show me steps as you go through the formula, right? But you could use the TVM solver to make sure you're answers right as you do your formula. So everyone should pull up the TVM solver, have it with them, double check their answer, either get the answer or double check their answer if they're doing it all the way through. Okay?
Wait, question.
Yeah, go ahead, Andreas.
So, what if we like plug it into Desmos? What do we get for that?
That I would consider that a 100%. You're using a calculator.
Oh, really?
Yep. But
Oh,
you'd have to
sweet.
give me, if you're using Desmos,
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you on this question. You have to give me the steps. Or you'd have to
Like-
take like a screenshot of the Desmos calculation, how you typed it in.
Okay.
Does that make sense? You have to either give me like a couple, you know how the previous question I showed you, like do this calculation, then this calculation. You have to give me those numbers.
Yeah.
Or if you're using Desmos, you could take a screenshot and like put it in your test of
Okay.
here's how I plugged it in the Desmos.
All right.
Okay, but I'd still use the TVM solver every time to double check your answer, just in case, you know what I mean? You could double check which one's right.
Okay.
So, Mr. O,
Yeah,
we get more marks if we used our calculator opposed to the TVM solver.
correct.
Okay.
But if you, I'll show you the difference here. All right, so let me write this one down. Now you have to remember, like this test is only worth, like of your final grade, this one test will not, might like flex your grade like 2 or 3%. It's not going to be like the end all and be all. Does that make sense? So getting 80% on this one test where you've got 85s and all the other, you're still going to get like 85 on that, on like overall pretty much. For a lot of people, getting an 80 on this test would bring their grade up. 12 times 48, 576. How do we do with getting that written down? 5 if you got it all right. 4 if you got most of it. 7 if I made a mistake and you see it. So I will tell you right now, if you are able to write this down, then use the TVM solver to solve the question. That's worth 90%. Okay, so if you can write that down like so, then use the TVM solver to solve the question. That's a 90%. You get a 90% on your test, on your assessment for that. If you just use the TVM solver, like you can't write that down, like you don't know how to like fill in that formula, but you can fill this out. I almost say 85, let's say 85% if you can do that. Okay. Then if you want the full marks, I would expect this mid-step here, where you have this answer here, and then your final answer using your calculator. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Kind of the grading, how I'm grading? Okay. I think it's fair as well, personally. So if I were using my calculator here, now if you have something you can type it in nicely, you could just type it in just as it's written. 0.055. Oops. Go back. I needed a bracket there. I got point divided by 12. Bracket to the power of 576. Press over 12.93-ish. Now, if you're using a like an iPhone calculator, what I would do is just do the middle part here first. I would go 0.055 divided by 12. Oops. Divided by 12 equals plus 1 equals to the power of 576 equals minus 1 equals. And I should get the same number. Okay. Then on the bottom, I go 0.055 divided by 12, which is going to give me 0.046, 0046. So I'd expect to see this middle step if you were doing a calculation. Divided by 0.0046, press equals, times 50. That's going to equal 140,531.92. 140,531.92. If you're using the TVM solver, let's go through my items here. My n value is going to be that 576. T times n times t. 12 times 48. My interest rate here is 5.5. My previous value is 0. I'm doing 5, and then I'm paying 12 times a year, and it's compounding 12 times a year. And my future value is 141042. So I'm a little bit off here because of rounding, but I'm in the same ballpark. Okay. So you like this, the answer is going to be pretty much the same there. Okay. Is that for the people who use the TVM solver, were you able to get this answer? Like, did your screen match what I wrote? And the people who did the calculation, did you get the same answer, approximately what I got? Yes, no, maybe so? Yes, good. Okay. Now, my second question here is, yeah, that's okay, Yosan. Olivia, we're all within, like, it's rounding numbers here. Like, if I did the exact numbers and never rounded, I get a little bit different answer. But because we're writing in this middle step, we have to round the numbers, which gets rid of these trailing decimal places. Okay. Now, if you're to hand this in, yeah, negative on the TVM solver is okay. Because, so if I were to hand this in, I would write this in. So if I was handing this in via the TVM solver, I'd write this. N equals 576. Interest equals 5.5. PV equals 0. PMT, do you understand what I'm doing here? Now your future value is negative because you don't physically have that money yet. Does that make sense? Now, if I were to make this negative, because like I'm paying $50 a month. So if you could think about it, like I'm paying $50 a month every month, my future value is going to be positive because then I'd be receiving this money back. So paying as in money's leaving me if I make that negative.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, it's kind of like logic based. Now, when you put this as positive, you think about like the bank is taking $50 a month from you. So they're getting money, but then at the end of the years, they have to give you 141,000 back, which is negative to them. Okay.
So when I plug that in, should I still put the like negative in front of it?
If you put a negative, if you in your answer you put a negative in front of it, yeah, that helps me understand. But one of these is going to be negative, one's going to be positive. All I'm really going to be looking for is like you understand that's the number coming back to you.
Okay.
Okay. And that's perfectly fine. Use the TVM solver. It's there for you. And it's great because like when you go to do a car loan, you can actually play with these numbers. right? And you could figure out the answer for what car loan's the best, or what payment period's the best. How much will I end up? So here's the big thing here. How much money did you make on interest? Okay. Here's the big question. How much of this 140,000, we used 141,000, did we make on interest? You're saying yes and no. So right now, in the way we're saying this, when we first start the investment, we have $50 in there. We have no money in there, and then we start putting money in. But if I were to say a question like this, what if I put Grandpa's $5,000 he gave me in first, and then I put $50 in? So if I put $5,000 in first, and then add $50 a month, that's what it would look like. I wonder how much that 5,000 starting with would add. So by adding 5,000 at the very first, how much more do we gain? Whoa, look at that. By starting with $5,000, we make 60,000 more in the end. That's crazy. Because the interest can start accumulating on that 5,000 right away. All right, so how much did we make in interest? Can anyone tell me how much money we put into this investment? Well, how many? Oh, Haley's might be on it. We put $50 in every month. How many times did we put that in? Haley, you may be a step ahead of me. We put it in
576.
576. So if we go 50 times 576, do we trust Haley? Oops. 50 times 576. So we put in $28,800 into this investment. And we got out 140,000. So to figure out the difference here, we would go 140, I guess 141, 042 minus what we put in. So that would mean we made, oops, 141,042 minus 28800. We made $112,000 on our investment. Does that make sense to everybody? How we kind of calculated that, our interest that we made? It's pretty impressive. Like, think about that. If you put away $50 a month, and I bet $50 a month you actually almost wouldn't even notice if you did it every month. You'd end up with $141,000. And for the 28,000 you put in, what, you almost quadruple that money?
Yeah, that's true, but I don't even think there's 5.5% here.
Pardon?
I think the highest you can go in Canada is like 3%.
Yeah. So if we put 3% in there, right? We're looking at 64,000. Right? So
yeah,
we're
still good.
Still good. What if we did $100? This is what's nice about the TVM stuff. You can just play with it. If you did $100, you're doubling up that money pretty much.
Yeah, that's true.
And the big thing is, like, if you look at the longer you have money invested, the more it's worth. So if we put the 5,000 early in there, right, we're $130,000 approximately. We didn't make that much more this time, but we make, so we add 5,000 and we made 20 more thousand. So we made 15,000 extra off that. We tripled that money. So long-term investments.
I love this unit.
Here we go. I'm going to skip this question. This one's kind of like, or should I give you this question to work on? Let's see if you guys can do this question. I'll write down the thing, and then I want you guys to use whatever technique you want to find your answer. Okay? What do I do? R, N, T. So help me out here first. You decide to start an annuity. Annuity just means a regular payment. For yourself, depositing $150 each month in the account that earns 4.5% compounded monthly. How much do we have in 10 years? So regular payments, $150. My rate, 4.5%. I'm going to write 4.5 and then the second one, because if you're using the TVM solver, compounded monthly for 10 years. Okay. So I want you to use your technique, whether you're going to use the TVM solver, and Ben, I'm betting you're using a TVM solver just off the top of my head. Tell me when you have your answer, Ben.
I got it.
You got it already?
Yeah, I'll type it in chat.
All right. Do we want Ben to say the oh, put the answer in. But I want everyone to see if they can match Ben's answer. I'm going to make sure Ben's answer is right first. We do monthly here? Yeah. Ben, where's your answer? I thought you were going to write it in. I got a different number. What's your N value, Ben? What did you write for N value?
120.
Okay.
That's what it is. No.
Yeah, that's what it is. What's your interest
Wait,
rate?
is it 22,000?
22,000. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just missed the first two. My bad.
You missed the 2. Okay. Okay. You got the right answer. Yeah. Now, Ben, if you can figure out how to write this formula down, right, you could add on to your total. Does that make sense?
Add on to your total.
Well, if you could write the formula down, you could get 90% on your test.
Oh, I see.
Like if you could write what I'm writing down right now, like plug all the numbers in, and then use your TVM solver. So if you could write down what I just wrote down, Ben, and use your TVM solver to solve it, that's a 90% answer.
Okay.
Okay.
And the other one's 80, right?
80, 85, I haven't decided yet. Okay, I got you. Give me a second, Olivia. I'll show you what you. Something happened with my calculation. So I got this answer using my calculation. So as long as you're in the 22,000 region, you're fine. Okay. Okay. Olivia, are you watching my screen right now? All right. So what your calculator said was something like this: 0. Was it 3778? What was the answer there? 375. Your calculator looked like this, correct? So what that means is this is called scientific notation, okay? And what it means is that -3 means that decimal place isn't actually there. It actually moves this way 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. And if you look, these numbers match. Okay? So whatever it says, like if I have like 5.0 times 10 to the -4, that actually means I could write 5, and I could go 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's actually this number. Okay? And scientific notation works the other way, where I make it 4.3 times 10 to the 3, which means the decimal place is actually going to go this way this time. So I go 4, 3, and I go 1, 2, 3. And that's actually 4,300. Okay. So, no, nothing wrong. It's just the way your calculator displays it. You see it a lot in science. And actually, you guys are supposed to be learning that. I went through a program that you guys actually learn scientific notation in elementary school. It's actually in the elementary school curriculum. I don't know, I have no clue. I've never seen a kid come into, I've taught more grade 11s how to do scientific notation than I know what to do with. Even grade 12s last year. Okay. Can I move on from this question? Ethan, George, what is that symbol? All right. Last question here. Okay, is this. An investor wants to retire in 25 years with $1 million in savings. His current investments are earning on average 12% a month, 12% annually. Oh, I don't like this question. Let's get rid of this question. Let's do the same question. Ben wants to retire with $1 million. Does that sound like a plan, Ben?
Yep. Well, I
You
dropped
guys
my
want to
phone
do?
on my face.
You guys want to do each week or each month? Let's do each week. You're 17, right, Ben?
Yeah.
For this argument, you just turned 17 today. What kind of rate do we want? Do you want to do like a 4% rate? There we go. So if you wanted to retire, how much would you have to put away each week to retire with $1 million if you got 4% on average? Okay, so if we go through here, this time we're trying to find our regular payment. Okay, so we have a little different formula, RNT. Let me grab that formula real quick. It's the exact same letters. just rearranged a little bit. We just have that negative exponent like we did yesterday. It's the exact same setup. It just has the negative exponent up in the top here. And it's a divide instead of multiply right here. Okay? But if you're using your TVM solver, all you're doing is you're not filling in, you're going to fill in your future value instead of your regular payment, and you're going to solve for regular payment. Ben, tell me when you have it. I don't want the answer, but I just want to know how quickly you're grasping this. I think you understand this. You got the answer already?
I don't know if I have the answer, but like I have the numbers in.
Yeah. Then you're just going to solve for big R, like your PMT button, right? N is 12 and time is, said 48, correct? So first of all, any questions about these numbers here? Now, if I were to plug all this in, we're looking for our regular payment this time. So if you can plug this in and use TVM solver, you're at 90%. Waiting for Haley's question here real quick. Oh, it's weekly. My fault. Weekly. 52. Yeah. 52. You're 100% right. Now, I could write this like this. Since it's a divide, sometimes you like to see it like this a little bit better. Like this is a better representation than the divide sign. It's just easier to write in the computer with the divide sign instead of the other way around. So this time we have 1 minus this. 0.04 divided by 52 to the power of, oh boy, that's a big number. 2,000, negative 2,496.
Mr. O,
Yep.
wouldn't it be so like that 1 million divided by?
Yep.
Yeah, you have that. But why is it 1 minus? Isn't it 1 plus?
No, it's different. It's rearranged.
Okay.
Yeah, I could go through the whole, like this formula here is just the previous one rearranged. Okay. So like as you switch, if you can think about it, I'll scroll up here for a second. Like everything from this side went to that side, and you think about it, like this was a minus on this side, so it becomes a plus on the other side. So, wait, but on notes itself, it shows both the same. Explain that further.
Like on the notes to self that you filled out, the formulas are the same except for the placement of the future value and the regular payment.
On the flow chart or on the?
No, on like the
Like
squares
right
that we fill in. Like they both have a positive exponent and they both subtract 1.
Oh, I got to fix that then. So that's a mistake on my part on this one. Okay. Because it's right in my flow chart. See, my flow chart is different. Does that make sense? Were you looking at previous value by accident? Let me think here. You might have been, oh, Jebediah. Did I get that equation wrong? I need to go back and look at the equation. 2 seconds. Let me just go back here. Okay, is a positive exponent. My fault. So not a negative exponent right now. I will go back and fix that in my notes to self and republish those. Okay. So that should be a positive here. So let me do it on my TVM solver so I have an answer first. And then I'll come back and do the calculations. So my total, this was 2,496. I have an interest rate of 4%. I have a previous value, that's what I'm looking for. No, I have previous value of 0. My future value is $1 million. And we're doing weekly. So my regular payment, 132.27. Yep, 132.26, 132.27. Perfect. So if you want $1 million, you have to put 132.26 in investment every week.
That is not what I got at all. Could we do it on
In
the
calculator? Yeah.
phone calculator?
Yep.
Okay.
I just want to get an answer for us to aim for, since I messed up the formula. All right. So let's do. Now I'm all confuddled here. Okay. Let me write down this part here first. So now I have 1 million over. Oh, I need to do my tenants.
Oh, I put negative 2496. I think
Yeah.
that's why.
Um, all right, here's my tenants check real quick. Give me a second to get on the other one. Copy. All right. If you don't mind doing that real quick.
Mr. O, could you do the phone calculator after this?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I just need to get my tenants done. I'm already late with it. Anyone who used a calculator, were you able to get the desired answer? Anyway. Do some quick math. Am I okay to take down the attendance check? Okay. Let me look at my original formula. So the format I gave you was wrong. All right, so for the people who are doing it using their calculator, go back and fix your formula because I messed up. Okay, so it's future value divided by so this here should be six. All right. Does that make sense to everybody there? Now that I have it written down as such. Tessa got her shot yesterday, didn't she? But she's not feeling great.
So did I.
So did you? Everyone goes different. Like I didn't, nothing really, it didn't bother me that much, but then my wife was out of it for a bit. So I think you got a little more meat in your bones than Tessa to absorb it. Just like myself and my wife.
That affected Riley pretty good too.
Yeah, Riley. It's everyone's a little different. It's just what it is. Kenny Kovats is not here. I got my second one on Friday. I did the strategy of if I show up, it's harder to say no to me. Strategy. San Vito, are you here? Killing me, kid. Dang. Oh, then why did you do the check? Jackson, type something in if you're here as well. I'm missing Jackson. I see you, Farley. I got you attended. Tessa, I haven't seen. Abby, I haven't seen. Gabe, I haven't seen. Yeah, I got you, Andres. Brianna Hines, if you're here, type something in chat. Yeah, you can use the TVM solver. No, if you did your check, I read the names off the check. That's how I cross-check who's like in the meeting and who's actually paying attention. All right. So, yes, I can demonstrate it. All right, so let me go back to the TVM solver here first. So my TVM solver numbers is as follows. My payments per year and my compounding per years are the same. So that's 52 times I'm going to pay per year. And it's compounding 50 times per year, 52 times per year. My future value that I want is $1 million, which I wrote in there. My previous value at the very start was 0 since I had nothing in the bank account. I had a 4% interest rate. And my end value there is T times N, which is my time times my number of times per month. So 48 times 52 gave me that number. Okay. Then I just solve for my payment by clicking the button right there. Does that make sense to you, Yosan, on the TVM solver? And then in my calculator, I would go, if I'm using, let's say I'm using an iPhone calculator, I would still do the exact same thing I did before, like do the top, then do the bottom. So I would go 0.04 divided by 52 equals +1 equals to the power of 2496, press equals, -1 equals, so 5.82. So I'd write 5.82 here, divided by 0.04 divided by 52, 0.04 divided by 52 equals, that's a little number, 0.00003077. 0.00077. And I still have my million up here. Which is, now I'm going to go 5.82 divided by 0.00077, which is 7,558. 7,558 approximately. And then I finish off with 1 million divided by that number. $132.31. So not far off at all. 5 cents. Did that make sense, Dominic, how I worked through that?
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. All right. So you guys have, let me look at your questions. 5, choose a practice. 6 questions to work on. Okay. So 6 questions there to kind of work through. If you want to use a TVM solver, that's perfectly fine. Just write down what it is, or on the test too, you could even they take a photo of your screen and input it into your homework or into your test folder. Okay. Wait, Ben, you've never been the Subway or Mr. Sub?
Oh, sorry, I didn't see the Subway. I've been in the Subway before.
Okay. Well, who wrote? Steve Farley. You wrote, what's your go-to sub? And you wrote Subway. A whole bunch of you just wrote Subway instead of the go-to sub. I want to know your go-to sub. Like Logan's is the turkey sub. Who's this? Olivia gets the grilled chicken with hot sauce. All right. So let's say, what time should we arrive back? Do you guys want to go 11:15? 11:30 kind of carries us over on lunch.
11:20.
11:20. let's go 11:15. We'll probably end up starting at
18.
11:17. 11:17. We'll split the difference.
All right.
There you go. There's the time we're back. 11:17. There's 6 questions. Ben's probably done 5 of them on his TVM solver already. And work through it as such. If you're using TVM solver, see if you can write down the formula first prior to see if you can write down the formula and then plug it in TVM solver. Okay? And I'll be here for any questions. That's right. Oh. Morning, Tessa.